Pastor Kendall Granger. Welcome to Discovering Your Unique Shape. This is an opportunity for us to take a journey and see how God has uniquely shaped and designed your life to serve Him and the needs of others. I look forward to this opportunity. Thank you for signing up. Let's get after it.
Keep on stepping, yeah. Keep on stepping.
Hi, and welcome to session 1 of Discovering Your Unique Shape. Hopefully everyone has received their study guide. This is going to be so important that every person have their own individual study guide so you can follow along with the lesson and do the assignments and the research and the journey of the devotionals throughout the week, okay? About in September 2000, Rick Warren, I was introduced to him and the Purpose-Driven Church, Purpose-Driven Life, and Class 301. And so a lot of the information we get will be stuff that I learned over the years and added and taken away from, okay? But let's just jump right into our first session. Session 1 is discovering your unique shape, all right? Discovering your shape. And so go ahead and turn to page 7 with me in your study guides. And I'm going to read the first verse, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. It says this: "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus, so we can do good things He planned for us long ago." Here's the deal. When you talk about God calling us His masterpiece or His workmanship, that means we're not a carbon copy of somebody else, and He does not expect us to be, but He wants you to be an original, a masterpiece. To discover your unique purpose that God has shaped you for, you must understand how God has uniquely designed you for your work in the world, your work in the church. And so let's jump right in. Most people, they determine their purpose in life by, what they see other people do. They see somebody doing something, they say, oh, that looks easy, or I think I could do that, or that looks fun. And they jump into something that has nothing to do with their shape or their purpose or what God has them on the planet for. Write this down. Another way that people define their purpose is by what would make the most money. I know that was my case. I started off with electrical engineering, not because I love electrical engineering. I thought, hey, I can make a lot of money, right? And I jumped in there and I took all these math classes, all these science classes, and I only needed one math and one science when I switched over to theology. Wasted time and money. But I had no idea of who I was or how God had uniquely designed me or even the work that He had for me. I kind of stumbled across it by accident. Sometimes God just has mercy on us, right? But I don't want you to take this by happenstance or by chance. I want you to be very deliberate and very purpose. And so this week, the next sessions, stick with me because we're going to do what we have to do to make sure you know your destiny. The third way some people find their purpose is by what their parents want them to do, you know? And sometimes parents put pressure on us to do something that makes sense or make money. You got to make a living. It might not be anything that you're passionate about. It might not be anything that you're gifted in. So we want to bypass those three and we want to allow God to give us our direction. The best way to discover your life purpose is to understand how God has uniquely shaped you, okay? And it's going to be extremely important to know that. Now, what God made me to be determines what He intends for me to do. Let me say that again. It's in your book, but I want to say it one more time. What God made me to be intends on what He wants me to do. It all works together, right? I would know the kind of purpose God has for me when I understand the kind of shape He's given me, how I know how He designed me. See, when we look at this thing and we understand that God gave me certain gifts and certain abilities, then He wants us to use those in ministry. If I don't have those gifts, if I don't have those abilities, then He's not intended for me to use that. He's not disappointed by that. It was never His design for us to use those things, okay? So what has God given you? So let's just do an overview of what the word shape actually means, okay? The word shape, spiritual gift. Write that down. That's the S, spiritual gift. The question we're going to ask ourselves here is, what am I gifted to do? The letter H means heart. The question is, what am I passionate? What passions do I have? See, that's part of the shape. This S is spiritual gifts. The H is your heart, what passions you may have. Then the letter A is abilities. The question we're going to answer here is, What do I naturally do better than others? What do I naturally have that God gave me? And it's okay to say, hey, I'm better at this than some people. I'm better at that. It's not that you're bragging. You're just acknowledging that God has given you some skills and abilities, okay? The P is personality. The question we're going to answer here is, how has God wired me to navigate through life? What? Am I extroverted, introverted? Am I outgoing? Am I reserved? We're going to talk about that in one of our sessions. I want you to stick with me now and make sure that we are on the same page. The E is for experiences. So in the word shape, the E is, write this down, is for experiences. What experiences have I had? Where have I been? What have I learned? And then how can God use those experiences for his glory? As you turn to page 8 with me, your life will be most fulfilling when you are using your gifts and abilities in an area of your heart's desire that best expresses your personality and life experiences. All 5 factors work together. It's not good enough to say, hey, I got a gift of teaching. But if your personality is more reserved, you don't want to be thrown into a classroom full of 500 people and say, teach them. No, you might want something very different. So you have to work all 5 factors together. Don't worry. I'm here, your group leaders, your group members, we're here to walk alongside you. We'll get this. Now, before you go into your discussion, I want us to look at some signs that you're in shape and some symptoms that you're out of shape. Again, I'm not talking about physical shape. I'm talking about your God-given design. So signs that I'm in shape, write this down. You're focused. If you're focused on what you're doing, sometimes when you're all scatterbrained and all over the place, that means that you're out of shape. You're not in the right area, okay? When you lose track of time when you're working. Have you ever had that experience where you say, hey, it's time's up, time is up? And you say, well, give me 5 more minutes. Give me 10 more minutes. All right, we're almost done, right? And you said that 10 times already. Because you love what you're doing, it's a part of your shape, you lose track of time. Write this down. The third way you know you're in shape is that you produce excellent results. People look at what you do and they're in awe of it. They're like, wow, that's good. They can't help but to take notice, okay? That's how you know. Those are some signs that you're in shape. Now, back to your notebook, back to your study guide. Symptoms of being out of shape. The first symptom is that you're frustrated with your work. No matter how long you do it, it just frustrates you. You don't look forward to it. It's a grind. It's a chore. It's a weight. Okay. Number 2, write this down. You are fatigued at the beginning of the day. You wake up tired with the thought of having to go to work. All right. And then you find out, oh, we're off today. And then you get energy from somewhere. Right. It's amazing that when you're out of shape, when you're not doing what God designed you to do, those tasks outside of that design literally drain the life out of you. Then you're afraid, number 3, write this down, you're afraid you're missing out on life. When you and I are out of shape, we feel like there's something missing. There's something that it's not happening for us. And so we really get nervous about that. And so that's what I want us to really focus on today. How do I know if I'm in shape? How do I know if I am out of shape? So let's go ahead and go to our discussion time. I want you to share with each other and go through the discussion questions. And I will see you in the next session.